It's time now for your weekly fishing reports and real-time outdoor news. This is the Southwest Outdoors Report.
Hi everybody, welcome into the show. Glad you're along with us today as we head into the fall months. Around the Southwest region, fishing should be improving the further we get into these cooler months. And in our continuing search for a new water that we've never fished before, I'd like to welcome you to a very old lake, but in the 11-year history of our show, we've never put a boat on it. Welcome to Lake Graham. It's located just north of the city of Graham, Texas, in the northwestern part of the state. This lake is about 2,200 acres. It's a combination of Lake Graham on the west and Lake Eddleman on the east. It's a power plant lake, and they circulate the water between these two lakes. It's a cooling reservoir. As you can see right in the background, we're sitting right in the mouth of that canal. Just beyond us here in the background is the actual original lake, Lake Graham. Now we're going to scout around. They've got largemouth bass, white bass, hybrid stripers, catfish, and crappie in this lake. I have no idea what we're going to catch or how we'll fish, but it's going to be fun and exciting, and you'll be along for the ride. And we're taking you around the region for your weekly fishing reports from Oklahoma, Louisiana, Texas, both fresh and salt water. So hang in there. We're going to take you back to the FSN studios. We'll get this thing started with Julie and your weekend plans.
The fishing tables are indicating that Saturday is the best opportunity to catch game fish over the weekend. The prime times will take place around 5:40 in the morning and 6 o'clock in the evening. Expect sunrise to occur at 7:29 and the sun to set at 6:57. And evenings will feature a waxing moon 59% illuminated. We'll be right back with all the latest freshwater and coastal fishing information from around our region. Plus, professional angler Keith Cavallas joins us on the Whataburger Ask the Pro to talk a little walleye fishing. First though, here's a look at some of our recent entries in the Costa Catch of the Week contest.
Southwest Outdoors Report is brought to you by Exide AGM Marine Batteries. Starts like new, stays like new longer. By Jean LaRue and Bobby Garland Lures. With our baits, a good day of fishing is in the bag. By Motor Guide Trolling Motors, engineered for anglers. And by Nitro Performance Bass Boats, pure performance.
There's one, just a little largemouth. Not big, but something to get things working a little bit. There he comes, barely hooked too. Not much to him, a little skinny dude. Ooh, not very healthy. All right, let's kind of give you the lay of the land here a little bit. I want to show you something. The lake's down about 9 or 10 feet, and if you come all the way over here, you can see these flat rock little points and humps coming out here. What you've got to do when a lake's down this low is you've got to take advantage of the fact that it's low, and you pull back and fish those new points, new humps, new little rock jetties and things that get exposed. In fact, we'll swing all the way around here and I'll show you there's even another one coming up just over here to my right, and that'll be another likely spot. But those are the kind of places that you want to fish for largemouth bass. Now, this lake's got several different species in it. In fact, I'm probably going to switch over and try to maybe catch some white bass or some hybrids here in a little bit. But I thought I'd start off this morning trying to catch a largemouth, and got one for you right there. We'll fish down a few more of these little rock humps and points and see what else happens. But at least that gets it started.
Hi everybody, and welcome to this week's Lone Star Lakes, brought to you by GunSafesByKennedy'sCorner.com, who reminds you, having a gun safe is not just about keeping your firearms from being stolen. It's also about keeping the kids or any other unauthorized user away from them. Now, this week, the temperatures have finally come down, and it's triggered a massive topwater bite on a couple of lakes, Texoma and Whitney. They both have big stripers up shallow. Now you want to use heavy duty gear and something like a saltwater pencil popper to catch these fish on top. If you use a Zara spook, you can catch the sandies and hybrids that also inhabit these lakes, and that's a lot of fun right up until a big striper takes your bait away from you. So use the bigger saltwater approved baits for these big stripers on both of these lakes, and you can also do really well right now on catfish in the shallows, 5 to 12 feet, using cut or live bait around the dams on both of these lakes. Finally, keep in mind, if your favorite access point is a federal facility, it may be closed. That's this week's Lone Star Lakes, brought to you by GunSafes by Kennedy'sCorner.com. Be sure and check out our blog each week on the website. Now let's check in with Mr. Bill Olson. He's on the coast.
Hi folks, Forever Last Hunting and Fishing Products brings you this week's report. With hunting seasons upon us, visit a sporting goods retailer or the Forever Last website for great hunting products like your 300-pound feeder, tailgate feeder, or tree hugger. Pick up a pair of snake boots, shields, or chaps, and a hunting belt or shell holder, game hanger, tripod, and much more. Visit foreverlast.com and type in Fox for a 20% discount on great products. Well, the first cold front of the year moved through, dropping water temperatures, and fish are on the move and feeding. Now here's the rundown of what's taking place. On the upper coast, tides were up due to the influence of Tropical Storm Karen, and then the north wind blew, dropping tides and pulling shrimp and bait from the marshes into the bays. From Sabine to West Matagorda, look for the birds to be active. The other option is in the surf on light wind days and the grassy shorelines with topwater lures. On the middle coast, from Port O'Connor to the upper Laguna Madre, work the shorelines. Shallow mudshell bottoms and potholes, mouth of Pringle, San Antonio Bay reefs on top, back lakes of St. Joe Island, Allen's Bight, on the Super Flats, around Shamrock Cove, Packery Flats, King Ranch Shoreline, and Emmer's Hole. Now out of Port Mansfield, look for redfish on the flats either side of the channel leading to East Cut, and trout in the potholes. Around Three Islands, reds are on the move. The causeways have trout and mangrove snapper hitting live bait. South Bay has some solid drum, trout, and mangrove snapper action. Offshore, this is the last weekend for the extended red snapper season that closes Monday, October 14th. Also, good fishing has occurred for Dorado, blackfin tuna, wahoo, and kingfish. This weekend, Saturday has a single tide schedule of 1 high and 1 low tide. This Sunday has a double tide schedule of 2 high and 2 lows. I'm Bill Olson, and I'll see you on the coast.
What is it? Oh, he's pulling. Good white bass. All right. There's another species for us right there. Welcome back, everybody. Your Southwest Outdoors report on beautiful Lake Graham, Lake-Eddleman. And there's a white bass. I told you we've got several species to work on today, so there's another one right there. That's just a good, solid, keeper-sized white bass if anybody were keeping them, but that one's going back right there. And I want to show you what we're doing. We've completely switched, done something different. I've moved over to the Lake-Eddleman side, which is the eastern side, and right behind us here is the outlet for the power plant. They're generating electricity. As I mentioned, a lot of current in this lake, and there's a lot of current coming through this outlet. So what I'm doing is I'm outside these buoys and poles here, and the current is just ripping across here. All species are attracted to current. The bait fish are in there, the fish are in there, and so I'm just taking a spoon, pitching it out there on a not very long cast, letting it go down almost to the bottom, and then I'm just sweeping it back and letting it move down that current, picking it up, and then let the current take it. And you can catch a largemouth doing this, you can catch a white bass doing this, and you can catch a big old hybrid striper as well. Just staying outside these buoys and poles, these keep out areas here, and just milling around in this current. All right, so we've got largemouth bass, now we've got white bass. In a minute, I'll bet we'll work on a crappie. See if we can find some brush piles out there and something to catch a crappie out of. Right now though, let's move along. Get you another fishing report for this week. Here's Cajun Phil and Kevin over in Louisiana.
Hey friends, Cajun Phil here with your Fox Southwest Louisiana Fishing Report. I tell you what, As you can see, it's raining right over my shoulder right now. We've been getting rain now for 3 or 4 weeks, and this has been a real hectic month for just about everything. Right now, with all the rain, we want to mention that both the Calcasieu River and the Red River is very, very muddy because of all the rain we've got. We got from 3 to 5 inches of rain. The rivers were pretty, they were catching lots of bass, but right now, they're pretty muddy and messed up. I would not go to the rivers. You know, right this month right here, like I said, has been hectic because alligator season's been going on. I talked to all of my alligator hunters. All of them tagged out. Looks like they averaged over 8 foot per gator this year with lots of 9s and 10 footers. Saltwater fishing is great right now. I'm going to be getting a report from Kevin down in Delacroix. I'll give you that report next week. As far as our friends down in Slidell, they've been catching lots of fish there. They're catching speckled trout and drum and redfish, and they're catching them on plastics. They catch them around the Pontchartrain Bridge. Tell you what, fish is good all across the state right now. I want you to come on down and get you some. Until next week, this is Old Cajun Phil, watching the rain come down, saying happy fishing and may God bless it. We're going to see you folks next week.
Wondering what Texas game wardens are doing amidst the mountains of Utah? They're here to pick up a few new recruits.
Parks and Wildlife Law Enforcement Division is starting a new canine program.
Good boy.
We looked all over the country for the best training, and we came to Utah.
The Post Canine Training Program is designed to provide with the shortest amount of time, taking a dog and a handler from 0 to hero.
Good boy, just a good boy.
And that translates to officers coming in who know very little about dogs, dogs coming in who know nothing about the task, and getting them within 8 weeks to be finely tuned, highly trained instruments of law enforcement.
For 2 months, wardens and their dogs go through intensive narcotics training.
They can pick up on residue amounts of narcotics where we as humans wouldn't even come close to detecting that.
The dogs are trained by scent memorization from tennis balls that smell like the object they are searching for. For Justin, it's just a game. But for the wardens, the job is serious.
We're law enforcement officers, and like it or love it or hate it, we're going to run into narcotics. One for each. They go hand in hand with hunting and fishing violations. We just want to be the best we can be to protect our community.
This program is world-renowned, training more than 2,500 teams from 50 countries.
We have trained the Iraqi National Police. We trained the bomb dog that found the bomb at the Dubai airport during the Yemen terror plot.
And the training doesn't stop after graduation. Future training will include tracking illegally taken wildlife.
He found all 3 narcotics in the vehicle. Yeah, he did good.
An odor is an odor is an odor to them. So that was part of the impetus for coming here and learning the narcotics. If we want to add an odor, say pheasants that somebody's killed and hidden, that would be real easy.
Want to go search?
The canine recruits will also learn statewide search and rescue technique.
Oh, we are taking back some new recruits. I mean, it's and you feel pretty proud about your new recruit. He's your new partner.
For Texas Parks and Wildlife, this is Abe Moore.
The Southwest Outdoors Report is brought to you by Mercury, the official outboard of the Southwest Outdoors Report for 11 years running. By Academy, right stuff, low price, every day. By Tracker Boats, fish the finest. And by Whataburger, just like you like it.
Got him. This feels like a big one of some kind. Down there really deep. Big crappie. Big crappie. Look at the size of that dude. Oh, man. Hey, boys and girls, that is a giant. Look at that Lake Graham crappie for you right there. Big old white looking crappie sitting out here. I'll tell you what I did. In fact, I just ran over my marker buoy, so I've probably got a mess. I dropped that marker buoy out here off of a rock ledge, and I saw just a little piece of brush out here. Caught 1 or 2 off the brush, but then they stopped biting. So what I did was I pulled back and started casting this little jig. It's a little smaller, lighter version of that Bobby Garland Moglo jig head than I normally use, and I started casting it, letting it go to the bottom and just swimming it along. And right here off of this rock drop-off ledge, that big toad right there snapped it up. So we have got Several species working. Lake Graham evidently is a really fertile lake. The Parks and Wildlife Department survey showed a good population of crappie, white crappie and black crappie, both species, 2 different species, and they're both here in really good numbers. So if that's any indicator, this is really a great lake. Let that big boy go back. A little rock outcropping coming out here, making a little point, and then falling off into real deep water. It's like 8 or 9 feet and then drops off into like 30 feet real quickly. Right on that ledge is right where that fish was laying. I bet I can catch one more off of it. We'll see. But while I do that, checking out Lake Graham and Lake Eddleman just north of Graham, Texas. We're taking you up to Oklahoma, and here is Gary Dillahan. He'll give us our fishing reports for this week from there.
Hey, we all pay attention to signs. They tell us when things are open, when things are closed, how to get somewhere, and when we have arrived at our destination. I think signs are especially important to help us find fish in the fall more so than any other time of the year. And I'm using signs even before I leave to go fishing. Checking out my bird feeder in the backyard. I've mentioned before, I think it's a great barometer to indicate fish activity as well. A lot of bird feeding going on. I expect to have a good day of fishing. When I'm driving to a lake, I'm also checking out the livestock along the highways. If I see all the cows are up and actively feeding, it's going to be a really good day of fishing for me. Now, once you get to the lake, the signs are much more typical. Many of them you're used to looking for, such as seagulls diving. You know you've got bait fish there. You likely have game fish feeding as well. But when you see a big old raft of seagulls just sitting idle on top of the water, don't disregard that. Idle over it, see if you got a break line there, see if you have a flat there. This time of year, they can also be a good indicator to tell you that there's fish feeding activity going on a bit deeper down on a break line or on top of a flat. Same thing is true for pelicans this time of year, and never ignore egrets or great blue herons standing in the water this time of year, even on a do-nothing bank or a red clay bank or something like that that you don't see any type of visible cover. It shows there's bait fish in there. It can be phenomenal fishing. Now, as far as the fishing report across the state this week, it looks like catfish are by far the most active species. Good reports coming in from all across the state. When your bass tournament anglers are talking about catching nice catfish during bass tournament with their artificial lures, you know the catfishing is really good. George Tolson caught this really nice blue cat during a bass tournament last week on Grand Lake. I heard other bass fishermen talking about catfish catches as well. Hey, one other thing you need to know about fishing the fall, regardless of what the signs are, you can't catch them if you don't go.
The Southwest Outdoors Report is brought to you by Costa Sunglasses. See what's out there. By Lubes, setting a new standard in fishing performance. Feel the difference. By Strand Fishing Lines, the standard of dependability. And by Strike King Lures, #1 in fishing.
Welcome back, everyone. It's time for our Whataburger Ask the Pro feature. This week's question comes to us from Oklahoma, where a viewer would like to know, will a drop shot rig work for walleye? To find the answer, we checked with professional walleye angler Keith Cavallas.
Absolutely, drop shots work. In fact, I've caught walleye on drop shot. I think the main thing that we maybe do a little bit different is we go to a little bit softer plastics, which is a general rule for walleyes in general, but instead of using a little bit stiffer plastic, maybe going to something like a real soft gulp minnow, like a gulp fry, something like that, real flexible and light. Using the small hooks though, walleyes do not have a big mouth, so sticking with the small drop shot hooks. I know Kevin's got the KVD drop shot hook. It's very similar to our wide gap hook that we use up for walleye fishing. So yeah, use drop shots pretty much anywhere you'd pitch a jig or vertical jig a jig. Works just as good for walleyes.
Thanks, Keith. If you need help from one of the pros, go to southwestoutdoorsreport.com, follow the Ask the Pro link, and submit your question. Now let's see who wins a new pair of sunglasses on the Costa Catch of the Week.
We've made it back to the boat ramp. The Nitro Z8 is back on the trailer at Lake Graham, Lake Eddleman. And our congratulations this week goes to our Costa Catch of the Week winner. He is Jared Homer of Mustang, Oklahoma, holding up a 62-pound paddlefish or spoonbill he caught out of the Grand River in eastern Oklahoma. And get this, his first ever spoonbill fishing trip. If you'd like to enter the contest, all you need to do is go to our website at southwestoutdoorsreport.com. Right-hand side of the front page, click on the Costa Catch of the Week box, follow the instructions. You could be our next winner of a brand new pair of Costa sunglasses like Jared wins on this week's episode. Now, in order to see all the Costa frame and lens styles, just go back to the front page of our website and click on the Costa logo. It's right in the middle of the screen. That will take you to their website where you can see all of the frame and lens styles, including this month's frame style of the month, the one I've been wearing on this week's episode, Switchfoot. Next up on the Academy Sports and Outdoors Right Stuff feature, it's the right gear to come catch all these species at Lake Graham. Today was my first experience with the Lew's Laser SL rod series in both the casting and the spinning models. They've got the micro guides, fantastically light and sensitive rod blanks. They fit so well in your hand. I think you would love these rods. Check them out at your local Academy Sports and Outdoors stores or at the Lew's website at lews.com. Now, for baits here at Lake Graham, a simple jigging spoon works real well for the white bass and also for the largemouths. We caught some on a Strike King Series 5 crankbait. We'll show that to you there. It dives to a depth of about 8 to 10 feet, and this was a great color here on this lake. We caught a lot of largemouth that we actually didn't have time to show you on this week's show. And then for the crappie, we used the little small 1/8 ounce Bobby Garland Mo Glow jig head with a little baby shad body and a chartreuse color. Next up, I can't really tell you why, but I've become more and more disturbed lately by the amount of lying that goes on in our culture, in our government, in business, even among friends. Lying has become the socially accepted norm. Now, I was raised in a time as a kid when lying was absolutely not acceptable. As a matter of fact, a real premium was placed on telling the truth, and if you did tell a lie, a little buzzer went off in the back of your head that said, something's wrong, something's wrong. If you ignore that warning buzzer enough times, that buzzer goes away and lying absolutely becomes okay and the socially accepted norm. Today I'd like to just be one voice that stands up and says lying is not okay. And not only is it wrong, but it always hurts someone. So it is important to tell the truth, even in spite of some of the consequences that you and I might have to face when we do so. Hey, I hope you enjoyed our trip today to beautiful Lake Graham, north of Graham in northwest Texas. Lots of species of fish in the lake, and they will bite. However, one word of caution, be very careful if you're coming to this lake while it's this low. It's 9 or 10 feet low. Be extra cautious launching your boat at one of the 3 boat ramps, and be very careful driving around the lake. There are a lot of sandbars and rock piles that are just under the surface that can do a lot of damage to your boat or your outboard motor. I hope you'll join us on next week's show, Thursday night at 10:30 p.m. And if that time ever changes, you'll be the first to know at our website at southwestoutdoorsreport.com, where you can click on the Facebook logo to get news and photos and video that you won't see here on the TV show, where you can click on the YouTube logo and get all the past archived episodes of our show, and where you can always get the latest episode of our show right on the front page in full HD, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. From Lake Graham and Lake Eddleman, until next week, I'm Barry Stokes saying be safe, have fun. Bye-bye, y'all.